All right, so we've talked about law of sines, which involves sides and angles mixed together in problems to figure out different things about triangles. There is also a law of cosines that can be used also. And one of the tricks is we have to be able to figure out when to use each one. All right, so for right now, these problems are all law of cosines, and we'll kind of come back and talk about how to pick which ones to use. But just a general rule is when you're going to use law of cosines, you're going to have just one angle involved in the problem almost always. All right, so only one angle involved. Now that's not foolproof because you might have a lot of angles there, but only one of them has to do with the problem. But what's going to happen is you're going to have a setup that's two sides and the angle between them. All right, so that's just kind of a little intro to how we're going to pick out. For right now, they're all going to be doing, they're all law of cosines in here. So you've got this thing that I got out of the book that we have. Um, it's talking about what's what, and it's got three different formulas there. The important thing I think is that you guys get these two things on your formula sheet. All right, those two things right there are on your formula sheet in that exact setup right there. This one will find a side. This one will find an angle, and you'll have to second cosine it, as you do with anything where you're finding the angle. All right. And then the big thing is that the C's, all right, this thing right here says when you use these, make sure that angle C and side C are the ones that are opposite each other. There's only going to be one pair of sides and angles involved in the problem that are opposite each other. With the law of cosines, we kind of highlighted everything, and there was, usually a blue side and a blue angle, and a yellow side and a yellow angle, and that's how we need to put in the fractions. All right, this one, that kind of setup won't be there. I got only one angles involved in these law of cosines problems. And if that looks like the Pythagorean theorem to you, that's because it is the Pythagorean theorem with the adjustment made for it not being a right angle. So that's what's happening in all these things, these different problems, law of sines, law of cosines, is that these are things that we do um, with right triangles, but then it has the adjustment for it not being a right triangle built into the formula. These are not as bad as they look. This formula looks horrible, but you're going to be plugging everything on the right-hand side and getting a number, and then just either square rooting it if you're finding a side or second cosining it if you're finding an angle. So they're not really that bad. They're all calculator problems. We just have to be careful that we get them put in the right spots.